streaming here with Chef Viviane. Happy weekend. Happy Saturday. I hope you are enjoying your weekend wherever you are watching this live stream from. Welcome once again. Today I'm just going to show you something simple and easy, not too much, not long time, just short episodes. I'm going to show you how to make a chocolate fondant cake, just as you saw in the thumbnail. So I will not waste much of your time. Let me just start directly. The first thing first. So I'm going to melt first the butter, and then I'm going to show you how to do every other ingredient, bringing all the ingredients together. I've been seeing a lot of recipe. There's different version of this chocolate fondant cake, but it is not anything like all what you have been seeing. It's so easy and yet always perfect. You cannot miss it. Just if you follow the steps I'm going to show you in this episode. So I'll start by melting the butter, as I told you. The butter, I don't need to measure it anymore because this is 500. So I just measure the rest of what I need to add to the butter. A little bit less. For the set, it should be a little bit precise, exactly, because you don't want to miss this step. Otherwise, your dessert will not be right, or it will not be perfect. So I'll start by So I will start by melting the butter. So I place the butter in a low heat while it starts melting. I will begin with all the other ingredients. So there is nothing here very special or magical. So let me just start first by measuring the sugar that I need. On a later day, I'm going to write all the recipes in the description, but not today, but on a later day. But if you follow the steps, you can just make it yourself even without the recipe. But if you need the recipe, I will surely write the recipe later on the description so that you can follow it step by step, because since it's a live streaming, I cannot write all the description because I'm very busy here in the kitchen at the moment. So I'm just going to measure my sugar.
Somebody asking, what are you making?
I'm making a chocolate fondant cake. Do you like chocolate? Do you like fondant cake? I'm just showing you a simple recipe to make a chocolate fondant cake. Okay, I have here my sugar. I've measured my sugar. I always make it precise, exactly, because with chocolate, with dessert, you don't want to miss this step. It's very important that all the ingredients are measured. So, like in this recipe, I'm using 125 grams of butter. I'm using 4 eggs, full eggs. I'm using 60 grams of sugar, and I'm going to use 50 grams of all-purpose flour. Then I will add everything together. And if you want to make a bigger recipe, you just have to multiply this ingredient by how many or by how much you want to make. So I'm making here about 5. I'm multiplying this by 5 because I'm making a bigger recipe here. So I'm going to start by adding and breaking the eggs in the bowl. So as I said, I'm using 4 eggs for this recipe, And if you want to make more of the recipe, you just multiply the ingredient by how many you want to make. You have to be careful when you are breaking the egg. So I'm always using the side of my bowl, because if you do it here, you can some of the eggshell will fall into the egg. So I'm using the side of the bowl instead of in the bowl itself. So to prevent the eggshell from getting into the eggs, the broken eggs. So now the eggs is ready. Just clean my table a bit. It's melting. So the next, I put the eggs aside. So the next step is measuring the chocolate. So I'm going to put down low to low heat. Is almost melted. The sugar is also aside. Sorry, my weight is not on. Okay. Here is the chocolate. I'm going to add the chocolate. I've melted the butter, and now I'm just allowing it on a low heat. So I'm going to add the chocolate to the warm butter. So I'm going to take it off the heat now to prevent it from getting too warm. So I'll just put this aside. So I'm going to put it here. I didn't melt it too hot so that the chocolate will not get too warm. So I just melted the chocolate on a medium heat, and I pour the chocolate into the melted butter, which is a bit warm but not too high. That is why it's important that you melt the chocolate on a very low heat so that it will not get too warm. So I just allow it to melt, then I will stir. But you see, the butter has not finished melting. By adding the chocolate into the warm butter, you reduce the temperature of the butter automatically. That is why you don't need to put it or to allow it to cool down before you bring all the material, all the ingredients together. So the next step is to mix the eggs. So make sure the eggs are well mixed. It's just like mixing as if you want to make an omelette. Hi everyone, welcome once again to this live streaming. Hope you love what we are doing here. Please support us by liking, subscribing, and of course share with someone to whom it may be useful. Thank you.
What are you making?
I'm making a chocolate fondant cake. A very easy recipe where you add all the ingredients together and you bake the cake and it's just perfect always. So it's a very, very easy recipe. Just follow, watch till the end, and you will see how easy it is to make this delicious fondant cake at home. So now I start by mixing all my eggs together, and then I'm going just to add the sugar to the eggs. So you make sure that the sugar is well dissolved by using your whisk just to stir in the egg mixture and the sugar continuously until all the sugar is dissolved. So I think the sugar is now dissolved in the egg mixture. So now I'm going to measure all-purpose flour. You can also use how do you call it? Pastry flour. It doesn't really matter, but all-purpose flour will just be fine. So I'm using here 50 grams of all-purpose flour for this recipe. But the recipe will be written in the description below very soon, in a couple of days, because it's a bit busy now. So when we are less busy, we are going to upload all the recipes in the description so you can follow it. And if you want to try it at home, you can also try it. So this is the flour. So now what I'm going to do, you see, the chocolate, I've given it the time to melt. You see that it's not too warm because I first melted the butter on a very low medium heat. You can even see that the butter is not that really, or not too warm. So that is the only way where you can get this recipe simple without first making your chocolate, allowing it to cool down before you add it to the egg mixture. Otherwise, if the chocolate and the butter is too warm, when you add it to the egg mixture, you can start cooking your eggs. So, and that is what you don't want to have when you are making this recipe. So now the chocolate is, the temperature is right. So I'm going to add the chocolate now to the egg mixture and sugar. So it's just mixing everything together. So it's mixing everything together. So now I added the chocolate to the bowl with the eggs, the sugar, the chocolate, the butter, and the eggs now together. So last, I'm going to add the flour, but it's also better that you use the sieve to sieve your flour so that you can prevent any lumps from going into the mixture. So you use your whisk just to stir it like this to prevent the flour from splashing everywhere on your table. You keep stirring. You see, because the chocolate was melted in a low temperature. You see, there is that thickness already in the dough. So you try just to bring everything together. There are people who fold it, but this recipe doesn't really need it. Chocolate fondant, the only thing you have to prevent is that it's not too warm, so that the chocolate will not be burnt, and also the eggs are not cooked. Because if the temperature is too high, your eggs start cooking and you have that lumps and that kind of omelette rough texture in the fondant. In the fondant, I mean. Look at, you see, you can see it directly that the texture is very good. So if you think or you see any lumps, you have to mix it again very well so that there will be no lumps of flour in the mixture. So as I said, that is how simple it is to make this recipe at home. So you see, it's smooth and there is no texture there of, look at that. There is no flour lumps or whatever. I've mixed it very well with the whisk to incorporate everything. So I will put everything now aside. I'll clean my table a bit. Thank you, all of you that is staying tuned to this live streaming. My aim here is to teach you something new, or maybe you already know, but to see how I do it here in our kitchen. Our aim is also to share our love, passion, and knowledge about food with you guys. I hope you are learning something new or you enjoy watching us. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and, keep watching, I should say. So I'm going to show you the next step. So the next step, I'm going to fill this foam or barricons or baking barricons the with the chocolate. But before I start, I'm going to melt. I'm going to how do you call it? Rub the inside of this ring with butter and then flour it to prevent the fondant from sticking into the ring. You can also use like a cup form, but it is difficult to unform it or to remove it from the cups when you are serving it. Either you are serving it with the cup or you are serving it with the baking plate or so. But I'm using here a ring, and for this purpose is to unring it or to remove the ring while after baking, because when we are serving it to customers, we cannot serve the ring with the fondant. So we unring the cake, the fondant cake. That is why this ring is very easy when you are baking. So, but first of all, we are going to butter the ring first and then flour the ring.
Someone asking where are you from?
Ah, where am I from? I'm from Belgium. And you? Write in the comments where you come from, please. I would like to know also. Where are you from? Write in the comments. Where are you from? Also, I would like to know. Have you been watching me or is the first time you are watching me? So it's just easy. You have to, butter the ring. So I'm going to stop the heat because it's getting too warm. It's easy using a brush like this, a small brush. You just brush inside the ring to butter the to apply some butter, a thin layer of butter around the ring. If there is any question you have, you can always leave it in the comment section below, and I will be very glad to answer them all. I'm going a bit faster since it's a repetition of the same thing, but just to show you how easy you can do this using your brush. So this process prevents the fondant from sticking to the ring, so that when you want to serve it or you want to remove it, it's very easy and it just fall out of the ring. So it's a very easy process. So the butter is okay. So the next is to flour the ring. So flour the ring just by dipping the ring in this, in this flour kind of plastic filled with flour. So, and then you dust it so that there will not be too much flour that is hanging or that is in the ring. So you tap it a bit to remove the excess flour from the ring. You see, this is not well. You just dip it into so I'm going to bring again closer. Sometimes you need to go around 2 times to make sure that it's well coated. Otherwise, it will be difficult for you to remove the ring from the butter and from the cake. To remove the cake from the ring. Okay, now I'm going to add a bit again here. When you see that it's not well sealed or is not, you don't have a thin layer of the butter, of the flour, you have to repeat it again so that the ring is coated with flour. You see, where there is no butter, any place where the butter is not rich or I didn't use butter, it will not, the flour will not stick to the ring there. So you need to apply a thin layer again so that the flour will stick to the ring. But when you are using, if you are using a cup or so for this, it's very easy. You don't have to do much, but still, I think I find it easier if you use a coating inside your cup too. When you allow the fondant cake to cool down a bit, you can just turn it like this and it will fall on the plate. But if you don't coat it like this, it will be sticking to the plate or to the cup. So I'm going to clean my table again once more before I show you the final step. So now my rings are ready to be filled with the chocolate dough that we've made. You see, just in between, it is ready. You don't even need to temper it anymore. You don't need to temper it anymore. You see, after, because of the chocolate in, you see, it's just ready to fill, to fill in the rings with it. You see, the temperature is now good, it's okay, because the chocolate was not too warm, and you melted the butter, the chocolate in the melted butter, and then the chocolate tempered the butter again and reduced the temperature to normal, and then you add the eggs to it, everything, and after working there with the ring to get it ready, you see the chocolate come to the right temperature that is needed to bake. You see, it's ready. So now I'm going to fill the rings. And we start with a pot because it's a lot. So the aim is to fill the ring, just 1/3 of the ring, not too full, because it's going to rise, and so it will rise to the brim, to the brim of the ring. So you should not fill it too high, otherwise it will go over and we start cooking over, and then it will not be okay, because if it rise over the ring, it will begin to splash over the ring. That is why it should never be too full. And if you find out that, for instance, in the summer it is too warm, then you have no other option than allowing it to cool down a bit in the fridge before you bake it, because you must have this consistency, this thickness, before you can bake the cake. So because if it's not this thick, what will happen when you add it to the ring? It will go under the ring, will start flowing under the ring. So that is why it should have this thickness before you begin to fill the ring. And if you feel that it's not thick like this, you have to allow it, you have to put it in the fridge and allow it to cool down for some time before you fill the ring. But if you are doing it in a cup, maybe you can just go away, you can just bake it like that. There will not be a problem. But if you are baking it in a ring like this, you must allow it have this thickness before you can fill the ring. So I find it also easy that I'm using the push back, because if you are going to use a spoon or so, it's so messy. So the push back here is a very easy technique and very easy way to keep things clean without messing up everything. Otherwise, all your hands, your fingers will be filled or rubbed with chocolate with this dough or with this mixture. But if you are using like a push back, what I'm using now is very, very, very easy, and everything will be clean and everything will be filled almost exactly or almost the same on the same way. So I'm going to wash my hands once more. It's easier. And now I can take this aside and turn it again so that I have place. Okay. You push a bit hard. This is filled. Then I'm going to fill this. And give it a bit of space so that when you are serving it, you can just put your flat, what do you call, your server under to lift it up without pushing the other one, because it's a fondant cake. Don't forget, it has to be flowing hard, flowing from inside. So you have to be careful not to push the other one to be open or to start flowing, because it can break. You see, it says, if you don't use a push back like this, you can imagine that everywhere here will be filled with chocolate, But now you see everything is clean, and you can check again when you see a place where you can just add a bit, but make sure that the ring is not filled to the brim. Otherwise, when you bake it, it will start flowing over while the fondant cake is not ready, or is not ready yet. So now it's okay. There's something else that you can still do. Sometimes you can tap a bit, but you have to be very careful tapping, because you don't want it to flow outside. You don't want it to flow outside the tray. So you just be very careful to tap it just few times. So this remove the air bubbles and also prevent that it goes round. But anyway, when it goes into the heat and into the oven, it melts first automatically before it starts rising up again. So it has been tapped twice. So now this chocolate fondant cake is ready to go into the oven. So it is when you bake this cake, I bake it for about 8 minutes on 200 degrees Celsius. Otherwise, you can bake it on 9 minutes on 190 degrees Celsius. But this, if you want to make it faster, is on 200 degrees Celsius for 8 minutes. And you allow it to cool down for 1 or 2 minutes before removing it from the ring. So it will be it will be hard from outside, but in the middle of the cake will still be flowing. So when you open it, there will be a flowing cake that is coming out, and flowing chocolate that is coming out of the cake. So that is how we make the cake with vanilla ice cream kitchen. Hope you learned something new in this episode. Tomorrow I'll be showing you the end result of this chocolate fondant cake. It is amazing. If you learned how to make this at home, you will amaze each and every guest that come into your dining table to dine with you at home. Hope you learned something new in this episode. Chef Viviane here once again from our little city of Kuurne in the province of West Flanders in Belgium. Mwah! Bye everyone, and see you in the next episode. Bye.